Hello, and on this episode of the Mortgage and Protection Podcast, we're talking all about a 3-person mortgage with Paul from Brick to Brick Mortgage Solutions. It's great to chat with you again, Paul. How's it all going?
Yeah, all good, thanks. Yeah, how are you? All right?
Oh, good. I'm very glad to hear that. Yes, all good too. Thank you. So we've got some questions here that we're going to run through, aren't we? So let's get straight into them. Of course, people would like to know, first of all, can you have a 3-person mortgage? Can 3 people be on the same mortgage?
Yes, you can have a 3-person mortgage. Some lenders do allow it, and they take all 3 incomes into affordability. Some don't take all the incomes, but there are certain ones that do. You can also add a 3rd person to a mortgage. If 2 people are already on a mortgage, you can remortgage it basically so that you remortgage the property and add a 3rd person. Bear in mind, this is called a transfer of equity, as we would be altering the deeds. It does incur an extra cost with the conveyancing side of things of around £300 to £400. With some lenders, you can also add that 3rd person to the mortgage without being added to the deeds. But that is explained in another one of our episodes, which is covering a joint borrower sole proprietor mortgage. So you can do that as well. That's another option.
Okay, well, there we go. Thank you for explaining that there. Let's look at this question then. So, can you get a mortgage or a 3-person mortgage with friends?
Yes, you can. It doesn't have to be a partner or a family member. It can just be with buying a property with a friend. Also, in the way that it was mentioned with the joint borrower sole proprietor mortgage, they don't actually need to live there in some instances either. So we could look at that option as well.
Right, okay, well, there we go. That's good news if you're listening to this and that might apply to you and you're looking at doing that. Okay, so you've touched on this a little bit actually, haven't you already? I'm not sure how much you've got to add, but how do mortgages with 3 or more applicants work then?
Pretty much the same as the ones with 2 applicants. Initially, we just look at all of the incomes and commitments from all 3 of the people, just to ascertain what the maximum borrowing potential is, and then carry on the same as with the rest of the mortgage process.
Okay, well, there we go. That answers that one there. So, of course, the next 2 questions combined are always popular, aren't they? But in this case, what deposit do you need and how much can you borrow with 3 people on a mortgage? Any differences here?
Mainly, most lenders will do 5% deposit as a minimum, and there is one lender offering a 0 deposit at the moment, but they're very tight on criteria. They look at they look at various things like the rental income you're paying. None of the clients could have owned a property in the last 3 years. The credit search is tighter. They also have to prove that they've paid the rent for at least 12 months, and they look at that rental income and they factor that into the affordability. Whereas with other lenders, on such as a 5% deposit or more, they would just look at the income and commitments, whereas these do look at the rental income as well. So we'd need to look at the whole picture of the actual clients that would come to us, so we can ascertain what the borrowing amount would be on that. But the minimum mainly is 5%. That's the norm.
Right, okay, so that's clear there. And just to confirm, all the information is correct at the time of recording this episode in March 2025. Let's continue on to this question then. So, what documents do you need with 3 people on the same mortgage? Again, any differences here?
Pretty much the same as usual with 1 or 2 people on the mortgage. You need for employed people, we need latest 3 months pay slips. If you're self-employed, 2 years of the HMRC tax calculations and tax year overviews. But for both of those scenarios, we still need the latest 3 months bank statements and either a license or passport. Yeah.
Right, okay, brilliant. Thank you for that breakdown and overview there. Now, people would also like to know then, does it cost to add someone to a mortgage?
It does when you add someone in the normal way, where you add them to the deeds and the mortgage. But if you just add someone to the mortgage and not on the deeds, like I mentioned with that joint borrower sole proprietor mortgage, and then that's not adding to the deeds, so it wouldn't be a transfer of equity. But when you're adding to the mortgage and the deeds, you would pay transfer of equity costs, which the conveyancing would be around £300 to £400 currently.
Right, okay, brilliant. So again, that answers that one clearly. Just following on from that question then, people would like to know, do you pay stamp duty when adding someone to a mortgage, and what other costs are involved here?
With the tax side of things, I'm not allowed to or not able to partake in that side of things. But what I can say is if they are added to the deeds, then they would need to check what their stamp duty implications would be. But like I mentioned, if only on the mortgage and not on the deeds, then there would not be any legal ownership of the property in that person's name. So that should not come into it then.
Okay, so let's continue and look at this question. And I suppose this is just in summary, really. What are the pros and cons of having 3 people on a mortgage?
The main positive to take out of that is increased affordability, enabling the amount of borrowing to increase, thus being able to afford a higher property value, possibly a higher deposit with more people chipping in. Also, there's more people liable to pay the mortgage, so increased security. I guess they could look at it that way. But on the negative side of things,
Right. Okay. Well, there we go. Thank you again for explaining that. It's always it's always good to weigh up those pros and cons, isn't it? There, which again leads us into the next question. You alluded to it there. Which lenders offer mortgages to groups of 3 or more people? So, are there many? Just to confirm.
there's a few of them at present. The main ones really Metro Bank, Leeds, Skipton Building Society, and Barclays. That's just to name a few of them, but there are more.
Right. Okay. So that's good news there. But again, that is correct at the time of recording. So always check when you're looking into this. And then just lastly, we always like to end on this note, don't we, Paul? How do you get a multi-applicant mortgage or a 3-person mortgage? How can a mortgage broker help here?
You just need to contact us here at Bricks and Brick, and what we'll do, we'll run through all the affordability and work out the amount you can borrow. We'll then obtain all the documents in order to do this, and then when you find somewhere and they accept your offer, we'll start the ball rolling with the most suitable lender and then stay with you all the way through until the day you move in.
Right, okay, brilliant. Well, Paul, as always, thank you ever so much for that. Hopefully that has proved useful to anyone listening to this, and I'm sure we'll catch you on another episode soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Please note, your home may be repossessed if you do not keep up with your mortgage repayments.